Baseball trade deadline has come and gone. Yesterday, Bob Nightengale, a great writer for USA Today, kind enough to join me for a couple moments. Bob, how you been, pal?
Doing great, thanks.
Good. I'm glad you guys are staying busy over there. And two of the major moves yesterday, you got the Yankees and you got the Dodgers. First, let's talk the Yankees and getting Gray. Listen, I thought it was a big move by Cashman. I think maybe you can argue that he fleeced the A's, but this move right now, solidifying that starting rotation when you bring in a veteran like Gray with this Yankees team already with that good offense. I mean, in your eyes, are they the front runners now in the AL, or at least the AL East?
I think so on paper, especially with David Price being out. If Price comes back, then maybe a little bit of a coin toss. But the beauty of Gray, of course, is you got him for, next couple of years.
Yep.
I don't think they were never interested in Darvish, who wasn't going to be a rental player. But a guy like him, just like they wanted Quintana, that kind of set them back a little bit. So they're able to recover with Gray. He's not as good as Quintana, but a nice fit.
Yeah. And then the Dodgers, you look at the Dodgers and their track record. They historically build their pitching depth at the trade deadline. You go back, Wood in 2015, Rich Hill 2016, and then Darvish 2017. I mean, what are they getting in a pitcher of Yu Darvish's, I guess when you look at his credentials? I mean, is that a move where you really believe that just adds, it puts them over the top, even though they've got to deal with the Kershaw injury?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, Kershaw will be back before October. And, let's face it, you don't need Darvish back. You don't need Darvish pitching until October either. You only got him for 4 or 5 starts. You already got this thing wrapped up. So, yeah, I think it's just a situation where another big-time pitcher, he's only, one game of playoff experience, but at least he's been there. The pressure of pitching Japan. And going from the AL to the NL is such a big difference. That's going to help him.
Yeah, and he struggled a bit this season. He's coming off the career high 10 earned runs his last start, and you look at his season numbers. Okay, so, but he's been a much better pitcher on the road than at home. I'm just curious. You've been covering baseball for so many years. How do you always gauge that? Why a pitcher is typically better on the road sometimes than at home?
I mean, sometimes it's just the pressure of pitching at home, trying to satisfy everybody. Texas, is a much, it's a great hitter's ballpark. But sometimes, just the lack of distractions on the road helps a guy. So that may be it. Just, no more distractions.
We saw the Mets trade off Reed to Boston. You look at Boston and you figure they were going to make a big splash, and sometimes it's tough if the pieces aren't there for you. But, I mean, in your eyes, this is a move to kind of go in line with the Yankees did, or what the Yankees were doing, because we didn't even get to the Yankees move with Frazier and getting the prospects as well from Colorado. But what's your overall thoughts with Boston right now, second in the AL East, and what does Reed mean to that club right now?
Yeah, it's a big help. I mean, they would love to have Wilson from Detroit. He went to the Cubs. So, yeah, I mean, a guy that's used to the spotlight, being a closer in New York, so obviously he can handle Boston. So yeah, I thought it was a good fit. I would like to see them get another starter, but this is a good fit. And if they didn't another bat, then grab one in August. Those guys are still going to be around.
And again, a couple minutes with Bob Nightengale, Rich Quinones here. We'll take you up to 2. How close or not close were the Mets from moving guys like Cabrera or Granderson or Jay Bruce from your knowledge?
I don't think close at all. And, let's face it, those guys all will clear waivers. So, by the end of this month, none of those guys will be in uniform. They'll all be gone.
You don't think it would benefit the Mets to hang on to Bruce? I can understand, Cabrera and Granderson, and they already moved Duda, but not Bruce?
I just don't know if they I just can't see him, signing him as a free agent. I think they're going to let him walk. So you might as well get something for him. Now, what they could do is if they don't get anything, go ahead and give him a qualifying offer at $18 million,
right,
and go from there.
So we're going to get a look at Rosario, the AAA hot prospect, the shortstop from the Mets. So I would imagine then, if you're a Mets fan, what about Dominic Smith? I mean, I don't know. I haven't read too much of what Sandy Alderson said, but that's a first base prospect as well. Do you think he can be called up? And if so, you get to see Reyes at second. Walker will split time between second and first, and then you move Cabrera to third. But how about those two prospects? What's the scouting report on Rosario, and when do you think a Met fan can see Dominic Smith?
Yeah, I think Smith would be, perfect September call-up. You got to be careful and not give him too much service time because you want him as long as possible.
Yep.
But he deserves a call-up, and I think we slap his face when it doesn't get one. And So at third base, they've been waiting for him for so long, Rosario. So he's got a lot of people that love the guy, that think he'll be a solid big leaguer, if not an all-star. So I think it'd be, at least fun for Mets fans to come see him.
A couple more before I let you get out of here. The Phillies all of a sudden playing some good baseball, a little winning streak. They finished July with a winning record, 13-12. They had that 4-game sweep over the Braves. That concluded Monday afternoon with that 7-6 victory at the ballpark. They've traded off a couple players as well. I'm just curious, when you look at the state of the Philadelphia Phillies, they're in our backyard. We know they're rebuilding. We get it. I always posed a question regarding the manager and Pete McKinnon. It just seems as though they rip up the contract, they give him the extension, they rip up contract. All right, he's the manager going forward. A lot of fans, they've been clamoring to see some of these prospects get called up. First of all, do you believe he is the manager for the Phillies going forward, especially with a lot of these young guys poised to eventually get called up, whether it's late September or maybe next year?
Certainly for the next foreseeable future. I think it's a good manager for the young guys. Hey, it doesn't matter, who's the manager. You bring Casey Stengel back from the dead. No one's going to lead that team to wins. So I think it's just a good guy now. Then when they're contenders, then you can make the decision like, okay, is this the guy that we think can lead the team to the playoffs?
Yeah.
Obviously, this rebuilding process has been slower than people like, and that's what happens. I mean, you can't be, real quick like the Yankees. Yankees that kind of struck gold,
Yep.
be able to balance it out. Obviously, people forget the growing pains the Cubs and Astros went through.
That's right.
Astros were just god awful for 3 years there, and now they're a superpower.
Last one before I let you get out of here. Best team in baseball, Houston or the Dodgers?
Definitely the Dodgers. Houston's kind of banged up in the rotation. I worry about them in the playoffs, how far they can go. The Dodgers, they may win 120 games.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're on pace right now for
40 games over 500.
Yeah, and it's just and they're so deep. It's like guys get hurt. It doesn't matter. If you can play with a 40-man roster all season long, these guys might go undefeated.
That's right. That's right. All right, Bob, I know we're a little tight for time. Hopefully we'll get you on next week or the following week with the pennant races starting to heat up, but I appreciate you jumping on board for a couple of moments, pal.